So why don't you, let's go ahead and start with your book right off the bat. So how did this come about, like writing the book? What led you to write it?
Well, ever since I signed with my manager, his name is Chris Rowe, ever since I signed with him, he had this idea in his head that I should write a book. And I really had no intention of writing a book. I had no interest in writing a book, really. But then I decided I definitely wasn't going to write a book until I started piling up a whole bunch of more work. So people would say, oh, yeah, she was in The Exorcist. What's she done lately? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do that. So he just kept nagging me. And then I was trying to get in touch with Kane Hodder about a film script I had read that I thought he was perfect for. And it turned out that his publisher was handling his Facebook page. And so Mike said, this is who I am, and I'm writing a book for Kane. I said, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I'm thinking about writing a book. And the rest, as they say, is history.
That's great. Now, when you started to get into that, did you just wanted to focus on the part of breaking away from just being known as the Exorcist through that book, or what were your goals with it?
No, absolutely. Actually, I really just wanted to write a funny book or an interesting book. About the whole first third of it is how kind of this little skinny buck-toothed little kid from Queens became an actress, and how and what I did. So it's almost an instruction book for anybody who has a dream. Anybody who has a dream. It doesn't have to be an actor. It could be someone who wants to have a web series, or be a DJ, or open a hardware store, or even be a mom. Any dream that you have, and it's about sticking to it and having passion for it, and not, kind of ever saying, gee, I wish I had. On your deathbed, no one's ever going to say, gee, I'm glad I didn't go after that job, or gee, I'm glad I didn't, go after whatever it was.
Right.
So it's about choices and bad choices, and why I personally think we make bad choices. And then it goes into The Exorcist and my screen test, and the screen test, the auditions, and the first day on the set, and funny stuff that happened on the set.
Excellent.
Because everybody knows that I've heard about the scary stuff, but nobody really knows about the funny stuff.
Right. And I'm sure there was plenty of it on the set.
Especially directing the masturbation scene.
Oh, I can imagine. So what inspired you to even start into acting?
Oh, I don't know what gave me the idea, but I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother took us to see Peter Pan, because I was living in Queens at that time, New York, and she took us to see Peter Pan, and I just remember that I thought that if we were sitting in the balcony, and I just remember, I thought if I could just jump on the stage in the second balcony, then I could become one of the Lost Boys. And then I thought, what if I miss? And land in the audience instead. And I said, that won't be good. And so then I, went back to the show. But the guy who wrote it with me, a man named Dan Lubier, is an absolute genius. And he's written this book. He didn't really write it with me. He wrote it, and I talked it. But it sounds less like a biography and more just a story about this kid who wanted to be an actor. And, the ups and downs that I went through. And it's been called inspiring and heartbreaking, because there's some very bad stuff in it and sad stuff. Mm-hmm. And like when Warner's wanted, not Warner so much, but Billy Beacon just wanted to disown me when I came to California, because they wanted everybody to think that they thought the movie would be scarier. Everybody thought that a 12-year-old had done all that stuff.
So, what's your current project that you're working on right now?
Just this very minute, I'm doing a project called The Grimm.
Okay.
Having nothing to do with the TV show. It's The Grimm.
Okay.
And it's I shot it in Arizona a couple weeks ago. And I have to go back on Thursday to do some pickup shots. And it's kind of fun. They built an automaton that's like 7'4", 4 inches tall.
Wow.
That's the bad guy, of course, that wants to take over this town. And I played kind of the malevolent conscience of the town, meaning that I'm trying to save the town, but the only way I can save it is this monster who wants to destroy young boys and girls. So I have to get the boys and girls.
Very nice.
It's kind of fun.
That sounds really fun. And is there
Before that, I did, I'm really, really proud of is a show called Abaddon, which is a prequel to Hansel and Gretel. But not the which goes into the fire. It's the one before that. And that was just a lot of fun because she's just evil.
That sounds really cool.
And you do know why she became that evil, so that's good.
That's good. Now, is there a estimated time frame for the Graham currently? When are we going to be able to see it?
Oh, that's it. I'm going to have to call you back.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea. It's like Abaddon.
Gotcha.
I really don't know when it's going to be released. And I hope Abaddon, they're looking for a theatrical release on Abaddon, not just a DVD.
Oh, good.
So I'm really looking forward to that one. But the other ones, humbly speaking, I've shot 5 movies since May.
Oh, my goodness.
I have no idea when anything is coming out.
You've been super busy since May.
Oh, yeah, and I'm talking to 4 other people about films that they want me to do, I guess, starting in the spring.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I've been busier almost, except when, I was a kid and I was doing The Exorcist in General Hospital and all that kind of stuff. And trying to be except during that time period, I'm busier now than I've ever been in my life. What I like is I'm just convinced that, directors or producers, whomever, writers, they look at the script and say, I need a middle-aged horror person that likes to make indie films. Let's see. Let's call Eileen.
That's great.
That's why I've spoken to these really great guys about the film that they're working on. Last night we were just chatting back and forth, and I'm really excited about it.
So how did, one of the things that I love about this next person I'll ask you about, Rob Zombie, his casting, I think, is one of the best casting that I've seen in a long time. How did that come about for H2 for you? How were you casted for that?
Well, my manager, the one I mentioned before, Chris Rowe, he handles Malcolm McDowell.
Okay.
And of course, Malcolm was in Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, and so he knew the casting director, and he spoke to the casting director about me, and the casting director got really excited, and so she actually I didn't audition for it. And she got real excited about it, and they sent in my reel. And next thing I knew, I was on my way to Georgia.
Oh, wow. So it's just like that?
Yeah. I've been really lucky. I actually, for the 5 films that I just mentioned, and Halloween 2, I haven't auditioned for any of them.
Oh, that's amazing.
I kind of like that. It's kind of like one of my visualizations as a child, that I wouldn't have to audition for stuff. People would just call me.
Now, one of my favorite roles, and I tend to talk about it often with people because I think it's a film that I think I wish had more, people knew a little bit better. But Helter, Skelter, probably one of my favorite roles that you're in, honestly. Do you remember how that came about? Because, that's such a...
that's a good story, too, and it's all this is in my book.
Okay, so let's not give that away.
Okay, I won't,
yes.
But it was something that, this is going to sound really weird, but I felt I sympathized on many levels with the girls in the movie. I just understood them viscerally. Not that I go out and kill anybody, but they wouldn't have gone out and killed anybody either. If they'd gone right, if they'd just gone right instead of left, you know what I mean? They would never have met Charles Manson.
Right.
And if they had never met Charles Manson, they never would have killed anybody. And that's how mercurial life could be. And I just understood that. And, with friends I had at that time. And so then now you have to read the book and see exactly how me understanding these girls came to be.
Well, I love how you said that. I get what you mean as well. You know, going left or going right. You know.
And we've all done it in our lives.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So.
My first marriage, God forbid, I didn't even talk about it. I insisted on going to a Thanksgiving party that a friend of mine was giving. My parents were furious that I wasn't coming home. And I said, no, I was very independent and stubborn. I said, I'm going to this party. And I met this guy there. I never would have met him anywhere else. And he totally changed my life, not necessarily for the good. I mean, now I know enough about life that I take responsibility for it. You know, he didn't tie me up and make me come out to L.A.
Right.
But he did the next best thing.
Right. So, going off of, we're going to look back at The Exorcist real quick. And this is actually one of the fan questions. And he says that you've been a big part in scaring others on film. More specifically, talking about your role in The Exorcist. And for this, he definitely thanks you because it was a big part of his life, he said. But he wants to know, is there anything that you fear yourself at all?
I think the only thing I really fear in my life is, well, number one, I've been with my husband now for over 30 years. Much over 30 years. And, you know, we're kind of joined at the hip.
Right.
That scares me. So that death, that separation, death really scares me.
Gotcha.
Being poor, that scares me. Not having enough money. So there are all kinds of personal things like that. As far as like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm pretty brave.
Yeah.
And I grew up in New York City.
Right, yeah. You saw it every night, huh?
Across the street from Central Park.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. That's what scares me. If anything happened to Thomas and something happened and just not having any money.
Right.
But I don't hold on to it because I don't believe in that. I think it's like saving for a rainy day. What if it never rains?
Right.
But you never get to spend that money.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can hoard money. I think if you hoard money, then you don't get more.
I agree.
There's no place for it to come.
Definitely.
So, yeah, those are kind of the two things I'm afraid of.
Very cool.
I suppose I'd be very afraid of never working again.
Another one is a fan question as well. They were talking about your role in Exorcism and then and then going to.
I did a movie called Exorcism.
You did, actually. I saw that. But
so funny. We kept trying to convince him to sell it as a comedy. It's hysterical. If you watch that movie.
I have. It came out, what, 2000?
My character totally disappears.
2003, right?
Look at her.
Yeah, right. That's true. She does disappear. You were what, the nurse, right?
Oh, you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was, I want to say 2002, 2003, somewhere around there.
Oh, I don't even know. I think it was earlier.
It could have been earlier.
A little earlier than that. But, it's easy enough to find out.
That's great.
It came pretty soon after I signed with Chris.
Oh, okay.
It was the first film I did, kind of in my epilogue. It's kind of in my epilogue, and that was the first film that I did.
Excellent.
After that. But it's really funny.
That was before.
It was funny?
I loved it. It's one of my favorites. Now, was that before Creepshow 3?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The Creepshow 3 was like dismal because the script was really good. There was Creepshow 3 was supposed to be like the other Creepshows, a collection of different scenes or little short films. And when you read it, it was really good. And when I saw it, I went, good Lord.
Nah. They didn't quite portray it right, huh?
Boring.
Oh, that's funny. My question for you, and it's the last one that I have that has to do with The Exorcist, by the way. Did you realize that role that you were going to play, I mean, you're on screen for maybe, 10 seconds or so?
Hey, no.
Right?
20.
About 20?
It's somewhere between 18 and 20.
18 and 20. Gotcha. Did you realize that role was going to have such an effect on society and people in general? Because, man, my dad should have never let me watch it as a kid, first of all. So I blame him for that.
Oh, you mean the movie too, right?
Yes, the movie itself. I mean, it was the movie itself was terrifying, but what you portrayed, was terrifying.
Well, that's why the book is so much fun to read, though. But because the black and white face, Kevin Howdy, or the face of death.
Yes.
That was just a last-minute thought.
Really? Wow.
They just threw that in, and we shot that the last day of shooting.
Wow, that's interesting.
Isn't that something?
That is something.
I let The Exorcist go. I came out to LA, which is a huge mistake. They tried to disown me. It was very ugly and very sad and very unhappy. And I said, I'm just done with this. And I really didn't do anything with it for years. But I was working. And, that's when I started working again. I did Planet of the Apes, and I did a kid show called Court, 70,000 BC, and Helter, Skelter, and General Hospital, and all that kind of stuff. And then, again, you have a whole confluence of events happened. And Dee Wallace is an old acquaintance of mine. And I ran into her because I started going to the Church of Religious Science, which is not Scientology or Christian Science, for those that don't know. They was put together in the 30s by a man named Ernest Holmes, and it's about creating your own life and creating what you want in your life. And I ran into Dee, and there are no miracles. There are just things that happen because, again, you put something out there, and it's the laws of attraction. And I ran into Dee, and Dee was running around. I said, what are you doing? And she said, well, I do these horror conventions. And I said, what? What are horror conventions? And she told me, and then she introduced me to Chris. And then my whole life changed. And anyway, so I had no idea what was going on or what was happening. And then after that, that's when I started realizing what it was. And The Face of Death was on the cover of Fangoria magazine, the cover of a book. And that's when I realized what you said, that the effect of what I did had to do with the movie.
Yeah, and it was to me, it's still one of the most haunting things that I've seen. Honestly, I love that film in general. Because I think it was that time frame. It was ahead of its time by far.
There's no question about it. And, thank God CGI didn't exist.
Yeah, I know, because it would just destroy it. Honestly, I'm a huge.
They will never try and make it again. I'm pretty sure.
I hope not.
Also because besides the heretic. The prologue, Exorcist, the prologue, and Exorcist the beginning didn't make any money.
Oh.
So that's why, they're thinking that we can't do it. And people call it the curse of the Exorcist and all that kind of stuff. And it's really basically, I think, because they just never had a good script. And I think they realize, it should be true about every other film that they keep remaking. I think they realize the fans just won't buy into it.
I think you're right.
I think there's some great little actresses out there that could play Reagan. And then they wouldn't need me. Nothing against Linda, but they wouldn't need me.
Right.
But I think they realized that after Exorcist the beginning and Exorcist the prologue, it just ain't going to happen.
Well, one last question I have for you before we wrap up here. It's basically, and this might even be in your book, the way it sounds like it's more of a, like you were saying, it's more of an inspirational story rather than a biography. Do you have any advice for those girls that are out there who are trying to get through to this and trying to get into the industry a little bit?
Well, the good news is that, well, first of all, like I said in the beginning of the book, don't even think about being an actor or a director or an artist or anything like that unless you have the passion. Because it takes an obsession and a passion to be able to do what I do and not do all kinds of things. I think that you, and Malcolm McDowell agrees with me, you just have to be focused on that. I never went out of town. When I started acting, of course, we didn't even have answering machines. You just had to stay by your phone. And so I never went anywhere. And I never did anything. In fact, I got cast in the off-Broadway play with Tony Perkins because I was home that day. And they said, look, we just lost an actress. If you want to come see us, that's fine. If not, we're going to go to the next name on the list. So don't even think about being an actor unless you have that kind of a passion that you can be rejected and rejected and rejected and just keep going and going because there's nothing else that you can do. It's almost like you just can't do anything else. And like I said, the good news is that with all the advent today of all the cameras, you know, and the red camera, and you can pick up a video camera and make a movie now. And you certainly couldn't do that when I was coming on.
Right.
And so that's what you, and there are so many universities and schools and stuff like that. And so my first advice is to get in front of every camera you possibly can. If you are like out of the house or out of college or something like that, then save your money. And, you know, don't live in an expensive place. Don't buy an expensive car. Don't run up your credit card bills so that you can afford to work on films for free. And that you can work on student films. That you can work on. There's a lot of bigger films now that can use non-union people. They can mix union people with non-union people. So just work whenever you can. You know, be in a play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get your friends to get a camera and just play with it so that you feel really comfortable and that you always have your fingers somehow into being creative. I personally don't think that you can be like a legal aid and an actress, you know, or work in a law firm or be any other kind of career. I think that, so therefore, to make money or money jobs, you know, or you know, basically waitress jobs, remote jobs, or jobs, you know, where someone will let you off to go to an audition or take, you know, time off. And that's really my first advice. If you don't have that obsession, you don't have the passion that this is what you want, then it's not worth it. It's not worth the sacrifice, or living month to month, or like I said, being rejected. And if when you do get cast in something, you're just so elated.
Right.
I mean, being cast in something is almost the best feeling in the whole world because it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That moment in life, it's like winning a football game. But that moment in life is just perfect because nothing has gone wrong. You know, you didn't meet anybody that didn't live up to your expectations or something. That moment is perfect. They said, we want you to be in our movie. Whoa! And then, like me, there are all these years and stuff like that. I go to a film festival in Dallas, freeze my tush off because it's so ridiculously cold, and I keep thinking, why am I here? I could be in LA. And then just the, I want to say isolation, but that sounds kind of, I don't know, non-humble. Mm-hmm. But it's just so nice. You know, the people really appreciate your work, not you as much as your work, which is you. Mm-hmm. And if they love to meet you and you love to meet them, and you can make money doing things like that. So for me, the end definitely justifies the means. I had no support at all being an actress, and that's what drove me. To say, you know, I'll show you, I'll show you, I'll show you. I had no support whatsoever. But on the other hand, it's when you don't have a strong support system that you make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Or you make wrong choices. I mean, I think there's 4 really, really bad choices I've made in my life. Really bad, that were like life-changing. And I think I know, if you had a really strong support system behind you, you wouldn't make those mistakes.
Definitely.
If somebody would tell you.
That's great.
On the other hand, I think we all have we all have something in our bellies. I call it a God nudge. Mm-hmm. You can call it whatever you want, but it's that little thing in your stomach that goes, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. And then your head goes, you can't tell me what to do. I can do anything I want. Like a child in us, you know? It's like, I can do anything you want. And it's, don't do it. I can do it. Because every one of these bad choices that I made, something told me not to do it. And I did it anyway.
Right.
So it's interesting to listen to that. But right now, you know, that's in the past. Unfortunately, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. And
yes.
I'm working.
That's great. Well, Eileen, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, it was my pleasure. You know, I get started. I hope I'm not talking about myself as much as I'm talking about what I do.
Right.
And my book. So let me just put that at the end too.
Yes.
I can almost guarantee my book that you like it, a money-back guarantee. It really is a book about inspiration and fun and funny stuff. People who like movies, they're just people that I think would make a great Christmas present. And even people like everybody's parents practically out there watch General Hospital.
Yes.
It's the most popular show in the country.
Yep.
And so there's a whole section of General Hospital in there too.
Oh, good
So
deal.
I think it'd make a great gift for a parent, even a grandparent or something like that. And then I'm selling my Pazuzu statues, which are
Oh, that's really cool.
for people who collect memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
So all people need to do is either go to my fan page on Facebook,
Okay.
which is right under there on Eileen Dietz, is my fan page. And there's also an Exorcising My Demons Facebook page.
Okay.
And then you can find out more about exorcisingmydemons.net.
.net. Got it.
And if you go on exorcisingmydemons.net, then all you have to do is click on PayPal, if you happen to have PayPal, and you'll get whatever you need in, like 2 or 3 days. Or if you don't have PayPal, then I'm assuming everybody's on Facebook. Just PM me, and I will send you an address, and you can send a money order.
Sounds good.
And I will put. I'm gonna. Maybe you put it on your webpage, but I'm gonna post a picture of the bulk again on my timeline and a picture of Pazuzu, and
Sounds
see how
good.
people feel.
Thank you so much for your time again, Eileen. Have a safe trip out there.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank
and,
you.
Bye, everybody.